Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to everyone. I'm Abdul Latif from University Putra in Sedang, in Selangor. Hello to all of my friends who I've not yet met in Sabah. I'm a faculty member here, a lecturer in the Faculty of Educational Studies, and have been working with Eugene for quite a while. He's doing his master's work under me. And we've been working on something together called Youth Adult Partnership, which I guess is what Eugene asked me to talk to you about today. So I thought I would just take a few minutes and maybe just explain a little bit about what Youth Adult Partnership is all about. And hopefully in the future we can meet in person and we can discuss this a bit more in depth and maybe look at some possibilities for even doing it in Sabah. I have done one study on Youth Adult Partnership in Sabah, which I will maybe speak to in a few minutes about more, at more length, greater length. I'm originally from the United States, but I've been in Malaysia for 16 years. I've been with UPM since 2001, first as a doctoral student, did my PhD here in youth studies. Prior to that I was in the States. I did my bachelor's and master's over there. I've been in the field of youth development in various capacities since really the early 90s, and in Malaysia mostly as a full-time academic. So in terms of Youth Adult Partnership is really what it refers to is essentially groups of individuals from different generations working together on community or shared initiatives, projects, programs. Whenever you have young people and adults working together in something of common interest, where young people have significant opportunity and space to lead and to be meaningful contributors in terms of decision making, and all of this is supported by adults. Sometimes we see young people leading things where it's more or less on their own. They're independent. They're not really supported by adults per se. It's done in spite of adults. This is not Youth Adult Partnership. Youth Adult Partnership is where we have complete support from adults for young people's meaningful leadership and participation. So it really could be any kind of project or program. We see this in youth programs, we see it in community programs and in community initiatives. In different countries, it takes on many different forms. It's not a particular program, it's a concept and it's a practice, and it can be done in a variety of different settings. I just had a PhD student finish from Nigeria. He did his PhD work on Youth Adult Partnership in school-based management committees in Nigeria, a very traditional society. And we had these amazing committees where you have adults, including like what would be the equivalent of the Ketua Kampong here in Malaysia, adults, teachers, school administrators, along with school students, youth from the community, all on this committee, and their job was to manage the primary schools. Amazing model, amazing study my student did, because what he found was that at the outset, in the beginning, it was quite difficult, especially for the adults to buy into it and to get used to looking at youth as partners, as equals, as people that they're going to be working with, making decisions with. It was very strange and alien to the adults. But after a while, through experience and through some training, the adults, they really came to appreciate it and to value it, and to value the insights that young people had that, adults just don't think of certain things. Adults don't understand young people the way young people understand young people. So if you're working in a youth program or a community organization or a national non-profit or something where your constituency is youth, I mean, who knows youth better than youth? Why not have young people involved in planning and in making decisions about those programs? They know the constituents better than the adults. Okay, so these are some of the things that they found. That the youth had incredible insights that were really useful, and the important thing about youth adult partnership is that it's a developmental practice, and what that means is that it's essentially educational. So as young people are involved in this work, they're learning, they're acquiring skills, they're acquiring competencies. We talk about youth leadership, but a lot of the youth leadership programs out there they're more or less laboratory style kinds of programs where young people don't have the experience of really doing leadership in real life settings. This is what makes youth adult partnership unique, in that young people are out there in real world settings leading, making decisions with adults, making mistakes sometimes, which is what they're going to do, but the adults are there to what we call scaffold them, support them, provide them with the guidance that they need from time to time, help them work through difficult issues and difficult situations, provide their 2 cents, because adults have a certain wisdom and experience that youth don't have, which is needed, and it's one of the reasons why they need to work together. Okay, they complement each other very well, and so this is what we have found, and what others have found who have been working in this area for a long time. And in Malaysia, we've even begun to do some research on youth adult partnership. As I mentioned, I did a study in Sabah on Gaya Island. We looked at the Gaya Island Youth and Sports Association, also known as Basuga. Maybe some of you know Basuga, but they're a really dynamic organization, actually. They've done really amazing things on Gaya Island, not only for the youth on Gaya Island, but also for the community of Gaya Island. So we did a case study of them, and we looked at Basuga as a youth adult partnership because they work very closely with the adults on the island, the adult associations on the island. And they were able to accomplish some really amazing things together, working in partnership. And the youth there have tremendous freedom and support by the adults to do all kinds of programs for the community and programs for the youth. So it's just one example and there are many examples in Malaysia. Unfortunately, we haven't had the opportunity to really go out and find out what's out there, because we think that there's actually a lot of it going on, and people are just not conscious of it. They're doing it because it's community, it works, and it's, in a lot of ways, it makes sense, and a lot of the better or stronger youth programs are definitely incorporate the elements of youth adult partnership in them as well. Unfortunately, we haven't located more examples and case studies, which is something that I'd really like to do, and I'm continually trying to do, is to identify these different organizations that are doing it. But anyway, it's something that I think that is really important for the future of young people in Malaysia, because everything now is about empowerment, and we can empower youth in many ways. But what's dangerous sometimes about empowerment and about people that talk about empowerment is that they talk about empowerment, but they don't really empower, or they think just letting young people do whatever the hell they want is empowerment, which it's not. Because one of the core elements of empowerment is giving people the skills and the knowledge they need to be empowered, to be agents of their own development and their own progress. That can't be done if you just leave people to their own devices. That's not what empowerment is all about. So in the context of youth development, scaffolding where young people have a certain amount of voice and they have a certain amount of freedom in decision making, but they need that adult support. It's critical. We need to build communities, and building communities means working together. It means places where everyone is valued, everyone has a role to play. That's what community is all about. And so we need to build communities, not tear communities down. We have so much polarization now in the world, in Malaysia. People are, at each other's throats. They don't want to work together. We need to reverse this. We need to start working together. And youth adult partnership is a really effective way of doing that, especially when people are working on initiatives, programs, activities, whatever it is, that both the youth and the adults find important and meaningful. Eugene's book for a Friend Society, I think, is a really good example, because what we have found when we talk to people, about for example, sending books to Palestine or sending books to Syria, to the refugees, in these different parts of the world. Everybody gets excited about it, youth and adults. They all think it's a fantastic idea. These are the kind of initiatives, kind of programs where you can really build strong youth-adult partnerships, because both youth and adults fully support it. And when you have that, people are more willing to work together. They're more willing to compromise and sacrifice their own whatever, their own fame and glory for the benefit of the project. Okay? Adults are more likely to give youth, significant, serious roles in the project, because they realize that, well, we just want to get this thing done, and we want we want everybody to have a role to play and everybody to be involved. So I think it's really important that we find that we locate and identify initiatives and activities and programs that both the youth and adults can really rally behind. That'd be a really good place to start to do any kind of youth-adult partnership initiative. And then of course it really takes patience. The adults really have to be patient with the youth, because again, it's a learning process for the youth. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to build those relationships, to change that culture, rather than the adults just telling young people what to do and then young people doing it. That's the old culture. It takes time to build that culture of participation, of equal participation. It doesn't happen overnight. And youth also need to learn the kind of skills that they, like decision-making skills that they've never had to do before. They have to learn how to do that with the help of adults. But it takes time. It takes time. So patience is a really important element of youth-adult partnership. It's not something that happens overnight. I tell people, if you're going to do, if you have a project that needs to be done in a really quick deadline, youth-adult partnership is not the place to start with something like that, because it often doesn't work very well in that kind of a situation. It's something that's done better over time in an ongoing manner. So there's an ongoing project or ongoing initiative. That's usually what I have found. I think what others have found as well, when youth-adult partnership works best. So anyway, so this is just a primer, an orientation, a little introduction to youth-adult partnership. Like I said, I really hope and pray that Eugene and I can get back out there maybe early next year, and I really look forward to meeting all of you, and hope that we can maybe build on something and get something going there. Thanks so much for your time. Inshallah, hope to see you soon. Assalamu alaikum and bye-bye.